you've heard me say many times, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now, I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill.
What is Drill, Baby, Drill? Drill, Baby, Drill is a political slogan that advocates for increased domestic drilling for oil and natural gas. The phrase first gained prominence during the 2008 U.S. presidential campaign when it was used by Republican Vice Presidential candidate Sarah Palin and became a popular chant at political rallies. The slogan represents a policy position that supports expanded drilling for fossil fuels in the United States, reduced regulations on domestic oil and gas exploration, greater energy independence through increased domestic production, economic benefits from resource extraction, including job creation. The phrase has remained in political discourse since then, often used by those who advocate for expanded domestic fossil fuel production as a means to lower energy prices and reduce dependence on foreign oil. Trump's energy approach generally included 1. Increasing domestic oil and gas production by expanding drilling permits on federal lands and waters. 2. Reviving and expanding oil and gas leasing programs that were restricted under previous administrations. 3. Focusing on energy affordability and economic benefits rather than climate considerations. The Drill, Baby, Drill slogan and associated policy approach is primarily an American political concept, but similar pro-fossil fuel development policies exist in many oil-producing nations around the world. Just to name a few, Russia has heavily invested in expanding oil and gas production, particularly in Arctic regions and through new pipeline infrastructure. Saudi Arabia continues maintaining high oil production levels as the cornerstone of its economy despite some diversification efforts. Canada has developed extensive oil sands projects in Alberta, though with more environmental regulations than some other countries. And now it's America's time up next to strike a home run in the realm of Drill, Baby, Drill.
Is Energy Secretary Chris Wright, the man Trump has tasked with bringing down prices and getting American energy firing on all cylinders. Secretary Wright joins me now from the White House. Sir, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you, President Trump says he's going to bring down the price of gas, yet he just imposed a 10% tariff on gas from Canada. So how are Americans going to feel that in their wallets now?
Oh, look, President Trump's a businessman, and he's trying to make the best deals he can for the American people. We've got a lot of trade across the border with the Canadians, but there's some issues. There's some drug trafficking across the border that hurts American lives. Canada has 250% tariffs on U.S. dairy. So clearly there's some room for improvement in trade with Canada, and I think President Trump's hard at work, with the ultimate goal, as you said in your intro, to lower prices for American consumers and expand opportunities.
Well, I didn't know that our eggs were coming from Canada until last night, and I paid $14 for our eggs. That's a whole nother story. But Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, is threatening to cut off power to the U.S. with a smile on his face. That's the quote. How do you make sure that this trade war doesn't empty America's pockets?
Yeah, I think we're seeing some supercharged emotions there. I think that's very unfortunate. I can assure you there's very sober, thoughtful discussions going on behind the scenes about how to solve these problems, how to make trade fair and beneficial for America and for Canadians as well. So I wouldn't look at the overblown rhetoric, look at the substance. President Trump has a track record as a businessman. When he was president in his last term, what happened? Prices went down, wages went up, and opportunities, particularly for blue-collar Americans, grew faster than they ever had. So I think, hold on, you're going to see some positive things coming.
But how do you convince Americans that are struggling right now to hold on when they're already barely holding on? What do you say to them?
No, you're so right. Over 20% rise in electricity prices the last 4 years. Over 20% of Americans struggle to pay their energy bills. That's why President Trump declared a national energy emergency. We don't want to move slow and subtly. We want to move bold. We've got to produce more energy in the United States, more electricity, more oil, more natural gas, more solar, more energy that lowers bills for Americans, and get rid of some nonsense regulations. I recently, at the Department of Energy, got rid of these requirements that you couldn't buy cheap water heaters. They were literally going to be regulated out of business, making appliances more expensive and lower quality. That's just un-American. But we are getting rid of that stuff as fast as we can. We've already seen a little move down in energy prices, only been 45 days, but I think things are headed in a very positive direction. But you're right, Americans are hurting. That's why President Trump got elected, and it's our job to address that.
Well, let's go overseas and talk about this deal, mineral deal. We don't have a clear picture of what exactly is underneath Ukraine. It was last surveyed by the Soviets. Why are you convinced that what they have is worth what Trump says they are worth?
So look, you're right. There's some uncertainty with what's underground in Ukraine, but we often use the term mineral resources. I think that's the wrong term. There's mineral materials underground. They only become resources when technology and capital and humans go and harvest them. So I think American capital, American technology, together with Ukraine, can bring resources to the surface that'll enrich the Ukrainian economy, that'll grow American security. There is a large number of critical minerals that China is doing everything they can to restrict the supply of and impinge on American autonomy. So I think it's a win for the United States. I think it's a win for Ukraine. If I've got underground minerals and no chance to develop them, do I want the strongest, freest country in the world to come partner with me to get them out of the ground and align our interests? I'm all in on that deal, whether I'm Ukrainian or American.
Let's talk about getting them out of the ground. How long will it take to actually feel the benefits of those minerals? I mean, when will we actually see rare earth minerals from Ukraine like cobalt or beryllium making those chips and car parts and airplane wings?
So great question, and it'll be a sliding scale. First, we got to have peace. You know, that's also another driver to peace. Everybody wants peace. We get peace in Ukraine. That in itself will help lower global oil prices and global natural gas prices. Then you've got to have businesses go over there and survey. Some areas there's already mining activity with American capital and technology. It'll pick up and produce faster. That could happen in the first 12 months. Some of those will be exploratory things and they'll take longer. But the immediate impacts of the peace will be felt right away.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright, appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks for having me.